Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast. I'm Nick, and we have Harrison with us tonight. How we doing, buddy?
I'm awesome, Nick. How we doing?
Bananas. Absolutely bananas.
I think you mispronounced the name of the show. I'm pretty sure it's now been changed to the Shohei Ohtani show. I feel like that's what this is going to be all about.
Yeah, I mean, the news that just dropped is absolutely insane. We'll get into it, but first, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can also subscribe on YouTube. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
And make sure you share that podcast. Sharing is caring.
That is right. Okay, so obviously, Shohei Ohtani, the big
contract.
The contract. He signs for 10 years, $700 million with the Dodgers. This happened Saturday. Before we get into the rest of the details of the contract, what was your initial reaction to the 700 number?
So my wife and I, we host an annual Santa event at my house. So we hire a Santa, we hire a professional photographer, we invite all of our friends and their kids over. They get great Santa photos. It's our gift to all of our friends. And literally like 15 minutes into this event, this news drops and my phone is blowing up, blowing up the whole time I'm at this event. So when I finally wrapped my head around it and saw the $700 million, I was absolutely stunned. I was prepared to accept 600 million, maybe even a little bit more than that, but never in my wildest dreams did I ever see it reaching 700 million. And my immediate response was, okay, what's the catch? Like what prompted this to go from 500 to 600 to 700 so fast? Because all indications are at the end, it was just the Dodgers. It was everybody else that said, we're good. It was literally just the Dodgers and basically negotiating against themselves there for a stretch. Yeah. I was absolutely dumbfounded at the news.
Yeah, so it said that I listened to Trevor Plouffe on the Talking Baseball, and he kind of made a good point. I think, good old Scott Boras went in and was pretty much like, what is Shohei Ohtani?
Not Boras. This is like the Nez Cortez guy.
Oh, that's right.
Whatever his name is.
Right. Sorry, my bad. Either way, his agent went in and what didn't even give him a number was just like, what is Ohtani worth to your franchise? And it sounded like they almost put the dollar amount on the franchise to come up with. And I mean, the Dodgers are like, 700 million sounds astronomical because it's unfathomable amount of money.
It is.
Right? He's going to make that money back for that franchise, which is also mind-numbing to think about.
Right. And the net worth of the Colorado Rockies owner is $700 million. There's an owner that will actually, in theory, be worth less than Ohtani when this contract is over.
When we get into the deferred money, I'll get into the competitive balance of the league. But my initial reaction was I was pacing around the house. I never would have guessed 700 million off the top of my head. Like, no. The numbers originally thrown out were 500. Then you saw 550. You're like, oh, a couple teams could go 600, maybe a little north. I never expected another $100 million ever.
The Los Angeles Dodgers were purchased by this ownership group in 2012 for $2 billion. They just agreed to a contract with Shohei that's worth a third of what they paid for the entire organization.
Absolutely insane. So here's where we get into the details of his contract. It was just released tonight. Shohei Ohtani is getting paid, wait for it, $2 million a year while he's on the field.
Yep.
So he is only making $20 million while he's playing for the Los Angeles Dodgers. The other $680 million is deferred for the 10 years after his contract expires.
And it's deferred without interest. Like, no interest on top of it. I'll just wait. And you guys can pay me $68 million a year for the 10 years immediately after I leave town.
So here's the other part of that. There's no opt-outs in his contract. So he can't opt out. It's 10 years. That's it. Freddie Freeman also deferred $57 million. So $4 to $5 million per year from 2028 to 2040.
So they'll overlap for 6 or 7 years.
Mookie Betts, $115 million in deferred money, $8 to $11 million from 2033 to 2044.
Almost the exact same years as Shohei.
Yes. So you have three guys that will be over $100 million on your payroll, and they're not even playing for you anymore.
Yeah. You're going to have, what is that, $85 million per year in deferred money when those guys are gone. You're going to pay them just as much when they're gone as you paid them when they were there.
So I think the MLB needs to step in and stop the deferred money. This is silly. And what this is doing is there's some people that are like, oh, this is good for baseball. You know, baseball's getting the money they deserve, whatever. I think this is absolutely horrid for baseball. All you are doing is widening the gap between big market teams and small market teams. You should just stop talking about expansion at this point, because you should just fold the bottom 8 teams, because they're never going to be able to compete with this.
Yeah, you've got an owner whose net worth is this contract. Like you can't. You're playing a different game, and I'll let you finish your point. But we said it last week. This has nothing to do with baseball. This contract has nothing to do with baseball.
No, I just those bottom 8 teams are never going to be able to do that. Now the Yankees are going to probably start doing this. The Red Sox will start doing, like, the big market teams are going to start deferring money, these big contracts, in order to compete. Now, granted, they still have to go out on the field and play the game. I get that. But you're paying the best player in baseball, arguably not anymore. And I'll get to that point later.
Yep.
But you're paying him $2 million a year because he's like, hey, I want you to spend cash and get more people here. That to me is a problem. However, it's not illegal.
Right.
In the CBA, Article 16 says there shall be no limitations on either the amount of money deferred compensation or the percentage of compensation deferred. So he could literally go in and play for free for 10 years and get paid his whole contract after if he wanted to.
Yep.
There's nothing in the CBA that goes against it. So this deal should be approved because it's all legal. It just widens the gap. You think the Kansas City Royals can go out and do that? You think, I mean, hell, even the Guardians could go out and do that? There's no chance in hell.
I mean, hell, the Royals just signed Will Smith to a $5 million contract. That was a big deal for them. Like
right.
That's a big deal for them.
And Will Smith will win his 4th consecutive World Series.
I hope they trounce the Dodgers.
Yeah, right. I don't think it's good for baseball, because now these bottom tier teams are going to have nothing. They're going to be paying all these free agents and defer their contracts and build these NBA super teams, which I absolutely hate. I love that baseball has had some parity and all of that stuff. I don't know. I'm like kind of lost for words about it. Like, is it legal? Yes. Is it good for baseball? Hell no. Well, I don't think it is at all.
And I think, and I go back to what I said last week. This contract has nothing to do with baseball. And the issue I have is that competitive balance aside, if I'm a Dodgers fan, I'm like, yes, for the next 10 years, Shohei is here and we're going to have money to spend. But what the hell happens when he leaves? So in 10 years when this contract is up and we're paying him $68 million a year and the competitive balance tax has gone up $30 million, you're going to carry that payroll for a decade after he's gone. So this entire thing, it has been and always was about Shohei. This was strictly Shohei cashing in on his name, his brand, all that. Good for him.
Right.
But he's kind of in the end, the Dodgers are going to get this rammed up their hoo-ha, because for 10 years he better be really freaking good. Like he better be Cy Young winning, MVP winning, World Series winning. He better be all of the above. Because the 10 years after he's gone, this team is going to struggle. Because they're going to have They're going to be paying Shohei, Freeman, and Betts. They're going to be paying $85 million. So on day one of spring training, they have $85 million in committed payrolls to 3 guys who are sitting on a beach somewhere when their careers are over.
Yep.
As a Dodgers fan, I'm sitting there going, what the hell are we doing? Like, we're going to have a great 10 years, hopefully. But after that, the wheels are going to come off the bus.
Yeah.
It's going to be a minor league team with all this stuff carrying over them. And if I'm MLB, I'm a little bit nervous because we watched what happened to the Nationals the last couple of years when they damn near went bankrupt. MLB almost had to step in and save them because they were carrying deferred money for Scherzer, for Rendon, for a couple of other guys. And then they had the Strasburg contract that wasn't insured. The Nationals almost went under because of all this deferred money they're carrying. Because in the meantime, you got to pay $85 million for these guys for 10 years and still field the team. You've still got to field a team.
Yep.
So it is a dangerous path to walk. It is a dangerous precedent to set. And really, the contract is kind of a joke. It's kind of a joke because the guy's going to take $2 million when he's playing, $68 million a year when he's not. The Dodgers are going to be competitive. The Dodgers are going to cash in on all the marketing money, the brand stuff, the additional sales, sponsorships, you name it. Everybody's going to come out of the woodwork and want to spend money with the Dodgers. The Dodgers will make, I've heard people say 15, 20% of that contract in the next month, just from all the stuff that'll come from it.
Yep.
Awesome. It's a windfall for the Dodgers, but it doesn't change the CBT. It doesn't change the structure of a team. It doesn't change how you field a team. And the Dodgers are setting themselves up for a fun run with a nasty crash.
Yep. The other reason I don't think this is great for baseball is because big market teams are going to have eyeballs on TVs. They're always going to have fans in the seats because they have a loyal fan base. Red Sox, Yankees have sucked the last few years. Fans still go to the ballpark and cheer their team on. The same thing with the Dodgers would happen, right? However, these bottom teams can't get anybody to the ballpark, and you're just widening that gap even more, right? Yes, you'll get guys in the ballpark when Shohei comes to town, but if you're in the AL, like if you are the Royals, you're not getting people in seats.
No, you have 3 games a year where people come out.
Right. The Tampa Bay Rays, are you getting people in seats? No. Like, you build these super teams, you're not growing the game. You're not putting excitement into these lower market teams. Granted, I don't think a lot of these players really want to go to these lower market teams.
No.
But they should want to. Like, it should be close enough where free agents want to go and be a centerpiece instead of build the super team. I don't think it's good for the game in the long run and that aspect of it.
I agree. And Morgan makes a point here. A lot of those bottom tier teams are okay just existing and making their revenue share money. And and that's true. There are some. What this deal is going to do is ensure that bottom tier is never doing anything but that. And what that does, it hurts the value of those teams, the economic impact they have on the communities that they're in. Like, there's so many other pieces that happen here. Like, when fans don't go to the ballpark, they don't go out to eat before, they don't pay for parking, they don't stay in hotel rooms, they don't use public services. Like, there's so many other pieces that come from having a team that doesn't draw. And some of those owners don't care. Like, I look at the A's. They were in an old crappy ballpark they didn't own, was leased to the city, and the city didn't care. Like, okay, I give the A's a mulligan because they were in a bad spot. But other teams like the Kansas City Royals, beautiful ballpark right in the heart of Kansas City, great fan base, but they want something to come watch. And when they were winning, they showed up. When they're not, they don't. But the other part of it too is you look at, and another counterpoint to all that is look at the Padres. Padres, small market team, signed a bunch of big contracts, and now they're dumping payroll because they don't have the money.
Right.
Which kind of shows that even though you make a great team, it doesn't change the fact that you're in a small media market or have a disinterested fan base. The Padres were exciting must-see TV in theory, and they still couldn't make enough money to pay the payroll because they're in a small market. Yeah. And that's just the nature of where you are. So there are definitely some teams that are handicapped by where they are. The San Diego Padres are never going to compete in terms of media market and dollars with the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Yankees. Just never going to do it. Doesn't matter who they put on the field, they're never going to do it. But the Dodgers, being in Los Angeles, are sitting in one of the best markets in the world. And even though those fans show up in the 3rd inning and leave in the 7th, they still buy the ticket and they
Right.
still pay full price and they still buy stuff. And
Right.
the Dodgers will make out like bandits in this deal because again, this contract has nothing to do with baseball. It has everything to do with marketing. And the Dodgers are going to cash in, reap the marketing money benefits. So will Shohei. Shohei makes $50 million a year off the field right now through his own
Yeah.
endorsements. He doesn't need the salary. But when he's not playing anymore and his likeness isn't worth as much, he's going to still be getting a fat payday from the Dodgers. So this is a dangerous precedent. I think it's bad for baseball. I think it's bad for the competitive balance. He's only going to count $46 million against the competitive balance tax. Whoop-de-doo. The Dodgers are still going to spend. But I think what this has done, I think it's changed everybody's opinion of Shohei. I feel like this was strictly a power play for him. I've lost a lot of respect for the Dodgers and how they're setting this up because it's not about baseball. And MLB can't do anything but watch it unfold. But I really hope it doesn't work out well. And I really hope the Dodgers end up paying for it.
Yeah. I mean, Morgan makes another great point here. You know, the most watched seasons in other sports when the super teams happen and everyone kind of roots against them.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I didn't need any help rooting against the Dodgers. And
I already don't like them.
Right. You know, and a lot of people I feel don't. But again, another superstar stays on the West Coast. So no one's going to be able to watch them.
Yeah.
You know, like it feels like everybody's moved out west and you can't watch these guys play. Like
but the irony of it is,
Freeman, Ohtani, all that stuff.
The irony of it is, these players all moved out west. 2/3 of your population is still east of the Mississippi. Everybody's still on the East Coast.
Right.
They still live on the East Coast. Yeah. These guys go out west. Their media attention drops off significantly. He's in Los Angeles, which is certainly going to help his cause because that's a media market. But like East Coast fans, I mean, we weren't watching Ohtani before. Right. I'm certainly still not going to watch him now.
No. And I mean, again, another great point by Morgan. He's like, you know, you argue like, why would teams spend the money if they can't get fans to the games, like the Rays playoff game? I mean,
the irony of it is, people want to rail on the Oakland Athletics owner for wanting to get out of Oakland. That's why I want to get out of Oakland. He wanted to go to a market that was actually going to support the ball club. Oakland couldn't support a basketball team. That's why they left. Oakland couldn't support a football team. That's why they left. It's not a good baseball city. And that's a fair point. Why would you spend money when you know you can't get it back? And if I'm the Rays ownership, I don't know why you didn't move. Like when the idea of going to when Nashville came up as expansion, why weren't the Rays owners going, hey, I'm going to phone a friend in the front office and say, hey, I want to go there. Like, can I move my team there? Because this market sucks.
Yeah. Let's get into the baseball aspect of Ohtani now, right? Yeah. I know baseball is the ultimate. Your contract is based on what you did, right? Yeah. Not necessarily what you're going to do on the field. Xander Bogaerts, for example, right? He got paid for what he did, gets paid by the Padres.
Yeah. He got paid for what he did with the hope that he would continue to do it.
Right.
Which he didn't.
Right. So we get to Ohtani. He's not going to pitch till 2025. I mean, he's a freak. Maybe we'll see him at the beginning of 2025. And you've paid $2 million a year for a DH. Really $70 million a year for a DH.
Yeah.
How does that sit with you?
I mean, the market rate for DH is $10 to $15 million a year for an elite level DH. $70 million for a DH is an insane waste of money. Because again, I go back to, you know, people want to make the analogy of it's like Patrick Mahomes or LeBron James. It's not, because Ohtani's not on the field with the ball in his hand for every play.
Right.
He's just not. As a DH, he's going to get 4 at bats a night, and he can go 4 for 4 with 4 solo home runs. They're still going to lose. Mm-hmm. Like at $70 million a year for a DH is insane. Now, like Morgan said, he's only going to make $2 million. Well, yeah, for $2 million, he's a bargain. But for the 10 years he's not there, where he's costing $68 million, he's the worst contract in history. So, you know, you can pick your battle on that one. But even say he's going to average out at $46 million a year, because that's what the competitive balance tax hit's going to be for this contract. At $46 million a year, he's still 3x what a DH should be. So next year, it's an absolutely albatross contract. But even then, if he is, let's play this game for a minute. If Ohtani wins the Cy Young and the MVP in 2025, and therefore a Cy Young winner is worth $30 million a year and MVP is worth $30 million a year, That's $60 million a year. They're still overpaying for an MVP and Cy Young level performance when you smash them together. That's what the guys that won those awards are making. Because Ohtani last year made $30 million, and Cole and those guys were $25 to $30 million. So you're talking $55 to $60 million is what an MVP and Cy Young is worth. They're still overpaying for an MVP and Cy Young performance. And he will never play to this contract. You just hope he plays close-ish to this contract. He's never going to be worth $70 million a year.
No. And the big wild card for me is he's coming off his second Tommy John.
And there's no data on second performance after a second one.
No. And do I think he comes back as what will he be, 32 possibly at that point? Does he come back in Cy Young form or Cy Young-ish form for a long period of time? I don't know. I say he pitches for maybe 2 or 3 years after coming back, and he DHs the rest of the contract.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers are going to be lucky to get 3 years of him being effective both ways. They might get a year or two where he's okay-ish, and then they're going to get 4 or 5 years where he's just a DH. I mean, honestly, this contract, I'll say it now, and I've been saying it for months. This contract will be one of the worst in baseball history because you're signing him for the marketing, not for the baseball. You're not paying him as a baseball player. You're paying him as a brand.
Yeah. Which, I mean, we kind of knew going in that's what was going to happen. Right. But I still wouldn't have put a $700 million price tag on it. That's crazy.
No, $300 million of this contract, they're lighting on fire for marketing dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know. So at what point is it a failure for the Dodgers? If they get one World Series out of this 10 years, for failure or success?
If you've got 10 years of Shohei Ohtani at $2 million a year, if you don't win 3 World Series in that time frame, it's an utter disaster.
Okay, fair enough. I would have put it at 2 because baseball's baseball.
It is.
And the Dodgers can't get out of the second round. So I don't think loading up your team changes that culture. It's been that way for years. And 2020 doesn't count for anybody that cares.
Yeah. I think with this, if you've got a $700 million player making $2 million a year, you better win. You better win multiple, and you better be there every year.
Yeah.
Like if the NLCS doesn't go through LA for the next 10 years, they've screwed up.
I agree. And you have the Braves and Phillies.
I still don't think the Dodgers today, with Shohei on that team, can beat either of those teams in the playoffs.
I don't think so either. And people were kind of railing me on Facebook for this, but I think we talked about it a little bit last week, is I don't think, like, if you put Shohei on the Red Sox at the deadline when the Red Sox were only a game back, Shohei doesn't make a big enough difference for the rest of the season to get the Red Sox into the playoffs.
Yep.
Like you said, he only pitches once a week. He gets 3, maybe 4 at-bats a night. Is he a fantastic player? Yes. I'm not trying to downgrade Shohei Ohtani.
No, he is a generational talent. You won't see a Shohei again.
No.
But he doesn't change the outcome of a season enough to justify that. And Morgan agrees. The Giants won 3 with that group. If the Dodgers can't win 3, then there's a problem.
Yep. Fair. I don't know. Just the details on this contract alone threw me for a loop. I was never expecting $2 million a year and $680 deferred.
No, I mean, I heard, I assume they defer some money because to back up to the deferral thing, teams have been deferring money forever. That's why we celebrate Bobby Bonilla Day.
Right.
The Red Sox just finished paying Manny Ramirez. The Reds have one more year of paying Ken Griffey Jr. Chris Davis is still getting paid by the Orioles. Brett Saberhagen is still getting paid by the Mets. Like, these guys are long gone getting paid.
Yeah.
So, like, deferred money is not a new concept.
No. And
we're not saying the deferred money is a bad thing. Deferred money works for a reason. But when you defer 95% of a contract, it's just a joke. Now it's a shell game. Now you're just playing with numbers to make it work.
And I mean, we don't even have a hard salary cap either.
No.
Like that's the crazy part. Are there penalties? Yes, of course there's penalties.
Yeah, but they escalate and okay, but
right. But I mean, like, the Mets penalties weren't even that bad. They dropped a couple spots in the MLB draft, and the MLB draft is a crapshoot anyways. Like, that penalty.
drafting in baseball is probably the lowest likelihood of success ever. I mean,
Yeah.
like NFL, NBA, NHL, like those guys get drafted and go right to the show.
Yep.
MLB, they get drafted, and you might see them in 3 years. Like
Right.
it's baseball is different than any other sport, and they were comparing his contract to like Ronaldo and Messi, who are making like 500 million bucks over 2 years. But again, soccer is a marketing machine in Europe.
Right.
Those
In the world.
contracts, well, yeah, but I mean, especially in Europe, like those,
Right.
is Messi or Ronaldo worth 250 million bucks a year as a player? No. Are they the best in the business? Yes. Do they make their teams better being on the field? Yes, because they're on the field all the time.
Right.
But at the same time, they are marketing machines. And soccer in Europe is more about the marketing than it is the game. And
Yeah.
that's why most of us Americans don't get soccer, because those guys, soccer players, are like the highest form of celebrity in the world. Like those guys
Mhm.
don't go anywhere without being noticed. They do brand deal, like they are everywhere, and
Yep.
because of them, the money spent on those organizations absolutely skyrockets.
Mhm.
In America, athletes are certainly held in high regard, but they're not like superheroes like soccer players are in Europe.
Yeah. I would argue that Otani's teetering on that though. Like he's so famous around the world at this point
Right.
that he's definitely teetering on that aspect of that.
I think the difference is, though, Nick, I think you're right. I think the difference is in Europe, a casual fan owns a Messi jersey. In the US, a casual fan knows who Otani is, but has never bought any merchandise.
Yeah.
Like
That's
it's a fashion statement to wear a Ronaldo or a Messi jersey.
yeah.
And Morgan, glad the Cubs didn't make this deal. Every team that didn't make this deal should be thankful they dodged the bullet.
Yeah.
Like, and even the Giants, who the last call, they bailed the day before the Dodgers finished up because they were like, "This is insane."
Yeah.
Everybody eventually went, "Nope," and it was the Dodgers negotiating against themselves at the end.
You are literally gambling your franchise on this deal.
Yep.
Like you said, like $100 million for deferred money after the three of them are gone, and you're strapping yourself. You're going to be in the basement rebuilding from the ground up, single A up, because there's no way. I mean, the Dodgers have the money to recover from it probably at
Oh yeah,
some point.
the Dodgers are not like the Nationals. Like they're not going to go bankrupt,
Right.
but they're going to be so hamstrung they're not going to be competitive.
It's just not a good look, I don't think.
No.
As an avid fan that I am, I don't think this is a great baseball look. And I think it sets a bad precedent league wide.
If the Dodgers are smart, they're going to stockpile some of that marketing cash. So when these guys retire, they can buy off these contracts in big chunks.
Yeah.
And just make them go away faster. Because carrying 85 to 100 million bucks a year in dead money for guys that are gone is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about it. If the competitive balance tax right now is at 237 million, in 10 years, maybe it's $30 million higher. 40. So say it's $40 million higher. It's 277. You're going to have 85 million bucks committed to guys who are gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
and
really?
Who knows what contracts look like at that point.
Right.
I mean,
and how many other guys have given deferred money to in the meantime?
Right. And we'll start to see all these other big free agents coming off the books now and seeing what they get. So obviously the Dodgers are in on Yamamoto. They'll probably be in on Snell. They'll be in.
The Dodgers are going to sign at this point. They're going to sign freaking everybody. They're going to turn the Dodgers into an all-star team.
Yep, 1,000%.
Morgan, and he's right. Big ownership group. They can split that between the 4 or 5 of them. Won't even make a dent. You're right. To these guys, $700-800 million over a span of 10 years. They probably start their fireplace with that.
Yeah.
And this is not the Nationals where carrying 50 or 60 million bucks in deferred money is going to ruin their organization, because that's where the Nationals were.
Yeah.
For this group, they can absorb that, but the product on the field is going to take a hit.
Yeah.
They're at the World Series of Poker, and they just went all in on the first hand. And if they lose, they're out. Like if you don't hit it big in this next 10-year window, you're screwed. Like you've doomed that organization to mediocrity for long, long after this.
Yeah.
You got a 10-year window to go make hay.
Yeah. I just to kind of put a bow on it, I don't feel it's good for baseball. It's, again, they're on the West Coast. You're not going to see them. it widens that gap between the lower market teams and the high market teams. And fans aren't going to go to the games. Like, you're just not growing the game. You're not making baseball a better viewing experience because you're loading up one single team.
That 3/4 of the country isn't even able to see because they play at 10 o'clock.
Right.
I mean, it's the thing for baseball and for the Dodgers. This is going to be an awesome one-time hit. They're going to get all this merchandise sales, all these ticket purchases, all these sponsorships that come flying in, and they'll make probably a couple $100 million in marketing money the next 6 months, and then it'll just kind of fall back to normal because people don't need 10 Ohtani jerseys, and they can't sponsor the ballpark more than once. So like you're gonna get this nice jump in this little revenue stream that continues, but it's gonna peter out as you move down the road.
Yeah.
And then you better win. Otherwise, people are gonna laugh at you. And if they don't win, and if they don't come out and win quick, like if they don't win a World Series in the next like 2 years, definitely in 25 when he's back pitching. If they don't hang a banner in 24 or 25, Dodgers fans have every right to storm the front office pissed.
And think about the back end of those contracts. Betts and Freeman aren't getting any younger. Ohtani will be 34, 35 at that point. Like, you're going to be
2 Tommy John surgeries. I mean, this is, we're not talking like he went in and got a scope. Like they had to like strap another tendon into that elbow. Like this is not like a little, or ligament into that elbow. This is not like a little thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Another great point by Morgan's. Like, I don't think it was good for baseball, no matter where or what he signed for. It was always going to be unprecedented number. It was always going to be big market team. Yeah. I mean, when there was talks of him going to the Blue Jays, I was like, I actually don't mind that. Would I have hated seeing him in the AL East? Oh, 1,000% I would have.
Yes.
But I think it would have been great to have a superstar in there with, Guerrero and Bichette and that organization that needs a little bit of a boost to get them over the hump. It's just, I guess I'm salty because it's the freaking Dodgers.
Well,
that's what it comes down to.
Well, I think, and I agree with Morgan, and I've been saying it for months. Like this Ohtani is the first player MLB's come across where his value is not tied to his performance. He is the first player from Japan, and Ichiro was crazy popular.
Yes,
but Ohtani is like another level of popular, and that also helps that they had the WBC and all these other things that weren't really big in Ohtani's time, in Ichiro's time. But he's really the first player MLB has had that is at that like celebrity status level where his contract is not dictated by his performance. He is worth more than what he brings on the field.
Yeah.
So I think this is new uncharted territory for baseball, because baseball, I mean, we were laughing last spring about MLB's marketing of the game. You could walk the top 5 baseball players into Hannaford tomorrow. Most people have no freaking idea who they are. Couldn't pick them out of a police lineup.
Nope.
Ohtani's the one guy that doesn't fit. So this is the first time MLB's come across a situation where there is somebody bigger than just baseball. Yeah. And this contract, as we said, was never about baseball. And that's, I think, the struggle for me, is that I look at this contract. It is a dumb contract. It is a terrible contract. It's bad for baseball. It's bad for the Dodgers. It's bad for everything. It's not about baseball. Right. And you almost have to like disconnect yourself from that thought. Like, this has nothing to do with him as a DH or a pitcher. It has everything to do with him as a marketing machine.
Yep.
And the Dodgers will make back the $700 million over 20 years. No doubt. They will make the money. But will they put a product on the field that justifies it?
Yeah.
And that I don't know. And what does the 10 years after he's gone look like? I feel like it's just, we're in uncharted territory, and it's a little weird to be in this spot because it's totally new to baseball.
Yeah. I hate that it's not about baseball anymore. It's all about entertainment and dollars. That's it. That's all it is anymore. It's not baseball. And that's what I hate about it. Because you could argue out of the 4 major sports, baseball was the last like pure thing out there. I put pure in quotes.
Yeah.
But this absolutely just flips it all on its head. It now becomes like the NBA super teams, because he came out and said, like, I want the Dodgers to spend to build me a competitive team because I want to win. Like, I get it. And being in Anaheim for all that time,
right?
I'd want to freaking win too. But
that's the part with Ohtani that's always driven me crazy with this whole process. It's always been about him. What he wants, what he expects, what he demands, it's all about him. And he's made it very clear. I'm bigger than the league. I'm bigger than the team signing me. You are fighting for my services.
Yeah.
I think that for a lot of people, and I know I've talked to a lot of people lately who just they don't like how this has happened. They don't enjoy him. They don't like what this has looked like. They don't like the approach. They don't like all the, you can't talk about me coming here and all this other nonsense. Like, I think it's a bad look for him. He sounds like a spoiled brat.
Yeah.
And he's made it all about him the whole time. And you know what? Good for him. Go get yours, buddy. But
Right.
don't pretend this is something else.
Right.
Like
And that
you
it's
want to get paid for your name. Good for you. But
right.
don't pretend like this is some altruistic I want to win thing, cuz I don't think you really do. I think you just want to get paid. And
Yeah.
if you win, great.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you want the publicity? Like, you know that you're the man at this point. Like, have teams have bidding wars over you.
What, like wouldn't you want
The-
to pull up to like the front office of the Dodgers and have like 10,000 people outside holding signs chanting your name? Like wouldn't you want to hear the fans wanting you there?
yeah.
Like,
I,
there's a reason Taylor Swift puts out her concert schedule months in advance, like a year in advance.
right.
A, to get ticket sales, but B, the impact she has when she comes to a city is off the charts.
Right.
Like off the charts.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It will be interesting to see how this all plays out. Like, I'll be old and decrepit by the time this all plays out, but I will enjoy every second of the Dodgers downfall on
God,
the
I will be
backside of
I
this.
will be rooting every night for those guys to lose.
I hope they go 0 and 162.
I
Like, it's
mean,
just it's
they
just the
won't.
Dodgers,
I
man.
mean,
Right.
they're going to win. They have to win. But
Yeah.
if they don't win frequently, and if the NLCS doesn't go through LA every freaking year, then they screwed up.
They got to get some pitching, man. If they don't have get any
They do.
pitching this offseason, they're not going anywhere. I don't care if they put up 8 runs a game.
No,
They're
and
going to lose.
the irony of it is, I don't think with the addition of him, they're the best team in the National League. They might be in the top 3.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But I still think the Braves and Phillies would beat their brains in a 7-game series.
Yep, you still have to go out and play the game. That's what makes baseball so beautiful.
And
Like,
are you banking on Dave Roberts leading this team to the promised land?
no.
Hell no. Hell no.
Absolutely not.
That guy couldn't manage a lemonade stand, let alone this team.
No. I agree. So
I think if the Dodgers aren't dominant for the next 10 years, this is going to be a big freaking joke that we're all going to laugh about. And the Dodgers are setting themselves up to either be zeros or heroes, because there's no in between. You either win at a high level or none of this matters.
Yep.
And
1000% agree.
you've got Ohtani for 10 years till death do you part. He can't get out. You can't get out. And when that guy's not pitching anymore in 4 or 5 years, and he's just a DH, and in his late 30s, and he's hitting 25 home runs a year, and struggling to get around the bases. Good luck.
Yep. I'm with you.
Good luck.
All right. Well, that was crazy because I literally just dropped about 2 hours ago. So that was a lot to dissect in that short amount of time. But we'll jump right into another meaty thing that happened this week. And the Juan Soto.
Which got completely forgotten.
Yeah. Juan Soto and Trent Grisham sent to the Yankees for Michael King, Kyle Higashioka, Drew Thorpe, Johnny Brito, I don't know, and Randy Vasquez. So they got a decent return.
They did. It wasn't as good as they started off asking for.
Nope. But Juan Soto's not signing an extension.
Nope.
I mean, he still could. He could go there in midseason, be like, you know what? I do like it here. I'll sign an extension. But
he has insisted he will not. He's insisted he's going to go to free agency. He's going to get his trip around the league. And honestly, after this whole Shohei experience, why wouldn't he?
Right.
I mean, yeah. and between you and I, Nick, and anybody listening, I think Soto to the Yankees has a bigger impact than Ohtani to the Dodgers.
I agree fully.
I'm just saying.
I think Soto could hit. I would say he's at 45 home runs next year.
Well, not only that, but this is a high contact, high average, low strikeout power hitter.
Yeah,
He is the he is like the exact missing piece the Yankees have been looking for like 5 years.
Uh-huh.
And then you mix in Verdugo in that outfield.
Yeah.
You got Judge. Now you've got Grisham coming off the bench, like your old Brett Gardner role. Like that outfield is freaking nasty.
Yep.
Soto, Judge, Verdugo every day, Grisham mixing in. Whew. Not
Yeah.
only can they catch and throw, those boys can hit.
Yeah. You
And they can hit
added
for some average. I mean, Verdugo is
right.
another high contact guy. And you
Yep.
give him that short porch. How many balls at Fenway did he hit that died at the warning track in right field? Like
A lot.
Verdugo might hit 30 plus next year.
Yep. You added a lot of contact in that outfield alone. Like the Yankees, I hate to say this because it hurts me to my core. They have had a great offseason so far.
I tip my cap to Brian Cashman because he stopped playing fantasy baseball and he's actually playing real baseball again.
Yeah. That Verdugo trade alone, I mean, yes, there was a lot of front office and managerial stuff going on between him and with the Red Sox. But you're right. Getting contact and OBP guys in that lineup is what the Yankees need. They don't need 9 Aaron Judges and 9 Giancarlo Stantons,
No,
which
'cause
they've
it
had
hasn't
the last
worked.
3 years.
Yeah, it
Right.
hasn't worked. You've had high strikeout, low contact guys, and if they face good pitching, good night.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean,
Soto and Verdugo will wear you out.
yeah.
And then you'll get to Judge and make a mistake.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
So,
those are the guys they've been missing.
yep. And I don't think they're done too. I mean,
No
they're
way.
in on Yamamoto too. I think the chances now of him going anywhere but the Dodgers is slim to none.
Yeah.
Um,
And they need to
but
dump Stanton. They need to find somebody who will take Stanton.
yeah,
I mean, and even if you
concur.
only get a bag of balls in return, if somebody will just take that contract.
Yep, I
He
agree.
is trash. That dude is
Yeah.
done.
The Red Sox did get 3 relief pitchers from the Yankees in that Verdugo trade. No names of
No.
the Red Sox are just looking to dump Verdugo, which
Yeah, for whatever reason they just didn't like Verdugo anymore and they were moving on from him. So, that I mean doesn't close the books on the Mookie Betts trade, but it gets rid of it moves the biggest piece of that trade away, and now you look back what you got for it and it's like, well, not exciting, but you did what you had to do.
yeah, I agree. Staying with Boston, it was kind of like the Alex Verdugo situation in
Yeah.
Boston. Tyler O'Neill from the Cardinals now comes to Boston.
Yep.
He's coming off injury, but he had a lot of stuff with like Marmol at the beginning of last year. That was kind of up in the. It was weird. It was a whole weird situation. Kind of set the tone for the Cardinals for the year.
They went right off the cliff after the Tyler O'Neill situation when Marmol benched him for no reason or out of the blue, and it turned into a whole thing.
So I think Tyler O'Neill, if healthy, can absolutely wear out that monster. He is a beast. He hits for power. He's a decent glove in the outfield. I think I'll compare him to Hunter Renfroe when we had him a couple years ago. Yep. Hunter Renfroe had a Gold Glove season out there. He hit 30 bombs. I think Tyler O'Neill is comparable to that if he stays healthy.
Yeah, and he's missed a lot of games.
He has. But
he's missed half of the games the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. But, maybe it is a change of scenery that he needs. And Boston's got great training staffs. We know some people down there.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Sale's been on the field a lot, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, just keep him off bikes.
Let's say the training staff can't help you take a line drive off the fingers and fall off a bike, but.
Yeah, right. Or somehow both at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Or mix or combine them.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like the move.
Yeah.
I don't think the Red Sox are done. Right. I don't think the Red Sox are done either.
No.
Breslow's making some moves early, and I kind of like them so far. So
I still don't get a warm and fuzzy that the Red Sox ownership is truly committed to winning yet. I feel like Breslow's making some good, safe moves. Part of that's probably because he's the new guy, but I think part of that's because they're just not going to make any noise during free agency. So he's trying to go fill some holes. Like the Red Sox were like so closely connected to Yamamoto, and now they're not even mentioned in the conversation with Yamamoto anymore. Like it's all about which New York team or the Dodgers.
Yeah.
It's like the Red Sox have fallen off. The Red Sox were expected to be very active in free agency. Now it appears they're not going to be. They're making some trades that I think have been good, but I still don't think this ownership group is committed to spending any money.
I think there's two guys that they might be interested in, and I think that's Snell and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Now, the Tyler O'Neill deal kind of maybe
makes that challenging.
Yep. But again, you don't know injury history with him.
You don't.
I mean, and it makes Yoshida DH because he's not a good defender.
No, Yoshida is very much a one-dimensional player.
And you could put Gurriel in left against the monster there. So I still think those two pieces possibly could come to Boston because we need starting pitching like
oh my
nobody's
goodness, so bad.
And if we have Snell backing up Brian Bayo, that's going to be a great 1-2 punch. And if Sale comes back and is even part of what he can be, we'll have a decent rotation, at least a decent top three.
Yeah, I mean you'll have a top three that will keep you in games. Exactly. Then what do you get for 4 and 5? But
yeah.
the Red Sox last year, the problem wasn't scoring runs. They scored runs. It was that they couldn't prevent runs. And certainly pitching is a big piece of it. But Verdugo's a loss. O'Neill could fill that void. Does he? Maybe right. He does.
A lot of question marks.
Tons of question marks, but super talented. You still have Devers, you still have Cassis, you still have Story. You'll have a full season of Story. Hopefully, if that guy can. We haven't seen a full season of him yet, but
still need a second baseman.
Maybe one day we will. Still need a second baseman. Connor Wong, I think, has solidified his spot as the catcher of that team. But I look at that lineup and go, it's a pretty good lineup. But where does that put them? 4th place in the AL East?
Yeah.
I mean, they're still not a top 3 team.
There's been rumors about Martin Maldonado coming to Boston too.
Why?
I don't know, and I don't like that. He's
that guy.
38.
He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat.
No, I don't.
I liked the rumors of Christian Vasquez coming back,
right?
But that quickly died off.
Of course. Another big signing, the Diamondbacks signed Eddie Rodriguez to 4 years, $20 million a year. So he now becomes their number 3 in that rotation behind Gallen and Kelly, which is what the Diamondbacks. Well, and fought. He might be number 4.
He might be. As a 3 or 4. I don't dislike that move. I still feel like $20 million a year for Erod's a little stout, but I think for the Diamondbacks, it was we have to have another arm, and we'll overpay if we have to, and that's okay.
Yep, but I think they've had a sneaky good offseason too.
They have, and that's a good ballpark for a lot of pitchers to pitch in.
Getting Suarez from the Mariners, making that deal, and filling that third base hole they had. They need some pop. Suarez will give you that.
Yep.
Adding a 4th pitcher and Brandon Pfaadt, if he pitches anywhere like he did in the postseason and the regular season next year, we're looking at potential Cy Young stuff. This dude was nasty.
Yeah, and that D-backs bullpen is pretty much all intact coming back. So the D-backs have certainly gotten better this offseason, no doubt.
Yep, great moves there out of them. But Craig Kimbrell is going to his 85th Major League team with the Baltimore Orioles. He signed for 1 year, $13 million. I think this is just a gap spot because Bautista's out with a Tommy John. But I don't even think he'll close. Yunier Cano will get the closing role in Baltimore.
I was reading, and that was my initial thought is, are they going to have Kimbrell close, or will he set up Cano? And from what I was reading is it sounds like they may have Cano stay in a setup role and have Kimbrell close because they are much more comfortable, and so is Cano in that 8th inning spot.
All right. Well, fuck me then.
Well, it's one of those things where, obviously that's if Kimbrell goes out and blows 3 saves in April, they may change their tune. But I think there's concern that, Cano's really carved out a great spot for himself in the 8th inning. He's comfortable there. Do you move him and then hope Kimbrell doesn't blow it in the 8th? Or do you get to the 9th and take your chances with Kimbrell? I don't know. Because, you look at Emmanuel Clase this year, led the league in saves and blown saves. It's not save. There was a day when guys would go out and be 45 of 45 and be perfect.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't happen anymore. These hitters are just so good. And although you throw 197 miles an hour with 38 feet of movement, they still connect on them.
Right.
So you kind of assume some level of blown saves are just going to happen. Can Kimbrell keep you in that range? I don't know, but Cano stuff is nasty.
Yeah, but that's the difference now, right? Is the starters are now throwing 100 miles an hour all the
Right.
time, and so there's no difference between the starters, the middle relief guys, and the closers. Like it was back in the day where you would have Omar Dahl for the Phillies going, or Jamie Moyer like spinning
Throwing
balls
12
all day, and then Jose Mesa comes in and blows 105 by you. Like gone are those days.
Yeah.
Everybody throws 105.
Yeah, you'd have Wakefield throwing at 72, and then he'd be followed up by Papelbon at 96, and you had no chance.
Right. Like I think
you
that's
from a butterfly to a beating.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference between the game then and the game now. It's definitely changed. But
well, and what I don't hate about what the Orioles are doing is that it gives them some flexibility, because I go back to, and maybe it was the Red Sox that tried that whole high leverage situation happens whenever, but if starters are only going to go 5 or 6 innings, the high leverage inning of the game could be the 7th, 8th, or 9th.
Right.
So really, you want to take Cano and put him in the highest leverage situation of the game. If it happens in the 7th, put him there. The 8th, put him there. The 9th, put him there.
Yeah.
But then it gives you another guy where if you need Cano in the 7th, now you got somebody who can shut the door in the 9th.
Yeah.
So I kind of like what they're doing where, so Kimbrel, you're the 9th. You're my 9th inning only guy. I'm not calling you before then. But Yunier Cano, if I get the bases loaded and 1 out in the 7th, I'm running you out there then because that's when I need you.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't hate it either.
So it's, we'll see. I'll be curious how they actually manage it. But I think Cano is your most valuable arm in that bullpen.
Yeah.
And having flexibility to place him where you need him when the game dictates versus when the innings dictate, may actually work out well for them.
Yeah. The Rangers bolster their bullpen a little bit, and they get Kirby Yates.
Rangers have been surprisingly quiet this offseason.
Yeah, they got to get. I think their bullpen's their number one priority,
as it should be, because it was the worst in baseball.
Yeah, I agree. So I mean, does he move the needle? No, not that much, but it's a decent arm coming out of the bullpen, veteran arm. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to get out.
Like we've been saying for like a month. Go get every arm you can. Stockpile them because half of them won't work out.
Yeah. Rhys Hoskins has been talking to the Cubs. There's just rumors. So possible signing there. Haven't heard much other than the Cubs are interested. And then Bellinger is linked to the Blue Jays and the Mariners.
Yeah, because the Yankees door closed on him fast.
Yeah. So I've heard he's been linked to the Blue Jays and the Mariners. So
if I'm Bellinger and the Yankees seem like my most likely destination and they're off the table now, why don't I just call the Cubs and be like, hey, what about me coming back?
And that could be a possibility.
Like, let's run this back.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, really for him, the only real out was going to New York. Otherwise, it's just a lateral move. Why do it?
Yeah.
Let's go back to Chicago. Like, and no offense to any Seattle Mariners fans out there, but you can go from Chicago, which is a baseball, to the Mariners, who don't fill that place halfway.
Right.
Like, where would you rather play? And a ballpark in Safeco is not exactly a bandbox like Wrigley is.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So interesting there. So I don't know. We should have more free agents dropping this week. But
so now that Shohei's got a home, who is the best free agent still out there?
Yamamoto.
All right, sorry. So who's the best non-posted free agent out there?
It'd have to be Snell, right? Your reigning Cy Young Award winner.
I'm thinking. So I think you got Snell and maybe Bellinger are your two top guys.
I would think so.
Who had ties to teams that have kind of figured out their options.
Yeah.
So who's the next big one to sign?
I think Snell's coming soon. I would imagine. Right. I mean, unless he's waiting for the Dodgers to call, which I mean, I might pull up our whole free agent sheet and just put Dodgers on the rest of the free agents that are there. Yeah, right across.
But congratulations to you. You got Ohtani going to the Dodgers.
I did. Yeah, I hate it. But
yeah, I know you didn't like the pick at the time, so
and I still don't. So
I agree with you. I think the next big one, it's either going to be Snell or Bellinger that go. Yeah. Because those guys, the Ohtani situation has made itself clear. The one real outlet for Bellinger, the door closed when Soto got traded.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm Bellinger, I'm looking around going, okay, like a couple seats have been taken. I got to find a home and I got to get paid.
Yeah, agree. All right. We're going to move on to our current managers bracket update, which you guys have been voting on. We are down to the final four. Is Morgan still listening? If you are, I need your help here. We are tied with Brandon Hyde and Scott Service, so we need a tiebreaker. Who's the better manager there? So Bruce Bochy wins his matchup. He moves on to the final four. And then over in the NL, Brian Snicker wins there, and then Torey Lavulo. So our final four are Bruce Bochy, Brian Snicker, Torey Lavello, and then our Brandon Hyde and Scott Service tiebreaker.
I feel like where Brandon Hyde won Manager of the Year this year, like that should be a tiebreaker. But
fair enough. We'll do that then. So Brandon Hyde wins.
I mean, both of those guys are great managers.
Yeah,
agree.
So our final four matchup: Bochy against Hyde and Snicker against Lavello. So it'll be interesting to see what the viewers choose there. But yeah,
those are really good managers.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be interesting to see what the page says. So
it was Bochy versus Hyde, and it was Lavello against
Snicker.
Oh man, yeah. I hate having to pick between those four.
I don't know which way I'm going to go yet, but all right,
tough one.
We're going to go on to our top 5 lists this year or this week. I mean, this year.
Yeah. Did you get the sorting right?
I got the sorting right this week. Yeah, I apologize for last week. So that was crazy. But all right. So
I love when I screw questions up. It makes it more fun.
It's unreal. So this week's top 5 are by decade. So crap. I'm going to give you a time frame and then give you the category. Okay.
Oh boy.
So here we go. Here's the first top 5 list. And if you're listening, you can chime in and add if you would like. Between 1990 and 1999, the top 5 home run leaders.
So home runs hit. All right. So it's got to be McGwire.
McGwire's 1 with 405.
Sosa?
No.
Oof. Big home run hitters of the 90s. So Bonds not in there.
Bonds is number 3 with 361.
Oh, that's right, because he was so young in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
All right, so Bonds is in there. McGwire's in there.
Griffey's number 2 with 382.
Okay, so we got McGwire, Bonds, Griffey.
You got
Manny?
Nope. Right team.
Tommy?
Nope. Big righty.
Albert Bell.
Albert Bell, yes.
I was like, I can picture him killing Fernando Vina at second base. I couldn't think of his name.
351, and then number 5. This guy has
Rank Thomas.
Nope. This guy has the record for most RBIs before the All-Star break.
Oh, Juan Gone.
Yes, Juan Gonzalez, 339.
Wow.
Yeah.
The 90s were a golden era for baseball.
Right. Absolutely crazy. So, all right. This one's a little tricky, I thought, too. So here we go. Between 1990 and 1999, so same decade.
Yep.
Top 5 pitching strikeout leaders.
Oh, boy. Pedro.
Nope.
Randy
Johnson, 2,538.
That's so many strikeouts.
Yeah.
Smoltz.
Yes, Smoltz, number 4, 1,893.
6. I mean, Maddox?
No, he was number 6.
So he's not a big K guy, so neither was Glavine. But those guys were so good together.
Yep.
Bartolo Colon.
No. Good.
he's pitching every decade for the last 4. So
he's still striking out people.
He really is. It's ridiculous at 51 years old.
2 Yankees on the list.
Oh, so it's got to be what? Pettit?
Nope.
No? Clemens,
2,101. This one might be sneaky.
Wells and Cone, but they weren't big strikeout guys.
It was David Cone, number 3.
Was it Cone?
1,928.
Well, which isn't a ton of strikeouts, but it's still quite a few. All right.
And then the last one is a crafty lefty from Anaheim.
Finley.
Yes, Chuck Finley, 1,784.
I used to enjoy watching him pitch. I used to love. I also used to love watching Al Leiter pitch. He had that curveball that broke like 92 feet.
Yeah, right.
I swear to God, he was throwing it to like the press box and it would drop back in.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. These next 3 top 5 lists are all going to be hits, but from the last 3 decades. Okay. So here we go.
Okay.
Between 1990 and 1999, your top 5 hits leaders.
Manny.
No.
Jeter.
No.
Oh, I'm killing it here, huh? Cubs
first baseman. Yeah, this was a tough one. I didn't.
Hang on. Derek Bell?
No,
Derek Lee?
Before him.
Oh, Jesus. Who was before Derek Lee?
Played with Sosa a lot. Lefty. Played for Arizona at the end of his career.
Oh, crap. Oh, no, this one hurts. I can picture him.
Mark Grace.
Oh, thank you, Gracie.
Yeah.
It's like I can picture him too.
Yeah. 1,754.
Oh,
and
okay.
I mean, you're missing a pretty blatant one.
I know. I'm struggling with the 90s. It's like I'm thinking hitters in the 90s. There's so many that overlapped and played parts.
Yeah. That's what's kind of tough about the list, but
Ichiro, well, that's too early for Ichiro.
No. Yep, way too early.
You've got so it wasn't Jeter, he wasn't Manny. You had guys like Carlos Baerga was a hit machine. No. Alomar was a hit machine.
Alomar's number 5, 1,618.
Okay. You had in that time Bernie Williams had a lot of hits in the 90s.
Not him.
You had
the best contact hitter of all time.
Best contact hitter of all time.
It never strikes out.
Luis Ariz.
In the 90s, dude, for the Padres.
Oh, Tony Gwynn, duh.
My goodness. 1,713.
Yeah, Tony Gwynn, duh. That's an obvious one.
Astros second baseman.
Biggio.
Yeah, 1,728. And then Orioles first baseman. Steroid guy, Palmeiro, 1,747.
It's the hitters are harder to remember the decades they were in because so many of them they play longer.
Yeah, longer. They overlap a little bit.
Oh man!
All right, here we go. This one's your list from 2000 to 2009.
Right.
Your top 5 hits leaders. Now name all the guys you.
All right, I'll give you everybody I just gave you. So Ichiro.
Ichiro's number 1, 2,030.
Jeter.
Jeter number 2, 1,940.
Manny.
Nope.
Cabrera.
Nope.
Oh, really? Okay. Fair enough.
Shortstop for the A's.
Shortstop for the A's.
All-star, won a home run derby.
Oh, Tejada,
1,860.
It's pretty good that's a pretty impressive number for him.
Yeah. Borderline Hall of Famer from the Rockies.
Helton,
1,756.
I would have guessed Larry Walker, but probably 2.
Yeah. And then arguably the best arm that we've ever seen in our lifetime. Guerrero, 1,751.
Yeah, Guerrero always had a sneaky number of hits. He had that. Yeah. He'd go through stretches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, he could hit balls that bounced off the dirt.
More than once.
It's crazy. Okay. And then last top 5 list I got from 2010 to 2019. Top 5 hit leaders.
Oh, there's a lot of good hitters in that time frame too, and a lot of split decades. So
and I'm gonna say this one is a lot of names that are not marquee names, which is
that's what I was feeling because I feel like the last 10, 15 years you've had a lot of guys pile up stats that you're like, really? They did did all that?
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. So Cabrera's
not on the list.
Man, all the hits that guy got. And he's on any decade list?
No, he just spread them out. Right.
It just seems wrong.
Right.
All right, so let's see. So Ichiro's passed at that point.
Yep.
You've got It's too early for like Altuve. Only would have gotten part of that decade.
I'll give you the breakdown of teams: Yankees, 2 Orioles, the Nationals, and the Rangers.
2 Orioles.
2 Orioles.
What the?
Both outfielders.
Oh man, Melvin Mora.
Nope. The other 2.
yeah, I was going to say. So Adam Jones.
Adam Jones is number 3, 1,647.
From the Yankees. Who piled up that many hits? I mean, those guys don't pile up a lot of hits.
Yankees, Mariners, Mets, and the Saudi Arabia team.
Oh, good Lord. Gregorius?
Nope. PED guy.
PED guy?
Yeah. He got caught with PEDs.
Oh, crap.
His agent was
Cano.
Jay-Z. Yeah, Robinson Cano.
Yeah. Duh.
He's number 1, 1,695.
Yeah, he was so good at his peak.
Yeah. And number 2 is the right fielder for the Orioles during that time.
Markakis?
Markakis, 1,651.
Markakis was sneaky. Like, that guy's put up some numbers.
And these last 2 are a little... One just retired this year after playing with the A's. Went into the Rangers and then finished with the A's. Was always next to Adrian Beltre in all those clips.
Oh, Andrus?
Yes, Elvis Andrus is number 5 with 1,595.
Of all the people, you're like, Elvis Andrus is in the top 5 for hits in the decade.
And then number 4 was Marlins and Nationals.
Marlins and Nationals.
Shortstop, I believe. Shortstop or third baseman.
Oh, Zimmerman was a third baseman with the Nationals for a long time. So
yeah, so this one's the obscure one that I was like, really?
Yeah, there's always that one. It's not like Luis Castillo or Hanley. Never went to the Nationals.
No. It's Starlin Castro.
Oh yeah, we had this one before. We had Starlin on another list, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, 1,617.
Okay, literally the most recent decade was clearly the hardest because.
Yeah, there's no marquee names on there, really, other than Cano, really. So crazy.
Wow.
But, those are tough.
What was that top 5?
That was the 2010 to 2019 top 5.
How the top 5 go though? What was the order?
Oh, sorry. Cano, Markakis, Jones, Castros, Andrus.
Yeah, I mean, literally, the average baseball fan has no idea who any of those guys are.
No. I mean, you could probably get Cano in there, but
Cano maybe. Yeah.
The other ones were tough.
Wow. So. That is a very obscure list.
Yeah. Crazy. So those are fun. They're hard, but they're fun.
Well, they're hard because of when you look at those decades, like it's, you got to remember, like, what years did they play? How many years did they cover? Like, like Markakis being in that list.
Right.
You only got Markakis because he played all 10 of those years.
Right. And that's why Cabrera probably wasn't on. Right. He started in 97 and then.
Right. He's been in so many of these that he's just continued to hit.
Yeah.
But
it's crazy.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I love those top 5 lists, by the way. Those are fun to go on the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, they're tough. But all right. I did not put out a rounding third question this week. Because we did the manager's bracket, all the news dropping and stuff like that.
Here's a question for everybody this week. Who is the next free agent to sign now that the Shohei Ohtani shoe is dropped?
Perfect. Okay, so we'll put that one out on the page. And then heading home, I don't really have a lot of other stuff because we pretty much front-loaded it.
Holy cow.
And I did mention quickly that the Mets did get penalized in the MLB draft for blowing over the luxury tax. So they were forced to drop to 19. But they had the lottery draft, so the Cleveland Guardians have the number 1 pick when the draft comes up. Red Sox, I believe, are 12th, I think.
Yeah, they're in the top 15. I can't remember where.
Yeah, so they're somewhere in there. So, like I said, MLB draft's kind of a crapshoot anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, other than like your top 5 usually make it to the bigs at some point. But we will see what happens. But yeah. Do you have anything else for this week?
Just one quick thing. So Bleacher Report, a number of outlets are reporting on like the top minor league systems. And number one, so kind of the consensus number one minor league system in all of baseball, the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh, shocker there.
They will continue to produce young talent. Number two is the Cubs. Number three is the Red Sox. And the Red Sox are really close in terms of the number of tier one free agents in the system to the other two. So as much as people want to scream and yell about what Chaim Bloom did, this is one of the top 3 farm systems in baseball, and it's got 8 tier one talent players that are a year or two away.
And I mean, that's Bloom's MO. Like that's what he does.
He was building another Rays organization that was going to have a ton of young people consistently coming up.
Yeah.
And they're coming. You know, you've got Marcelo Mayer, Roman Anthony, Rafaela, Kyle Teal, Miguel Blaze, Nick York, Wickerman Gonzalez, Richard Fitz now, who's been added, Yolan Cespedes, Blaze Jordan. Like you in your top 10, you have 6 tier one free agents or six tier one prospects.
Yeah.
You're tied for the most in all of baseball.
Yeah.
Like this minor league system is loaded.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, we saw Rafaela a little bit last year. Wouldn't surprise me if he starts the year with a club and maybe fills that second base hole. Maybe we see Mayer at some point. I don't know how close he is, but if they don't fill second base, I think they have Rafaela for that spot possibly. So We'll see.
And there's talk that the Orioles are considering maybe even having Jackson Holliday up with them to start the season.
That wouldn't shock me.
He is lighting the minor leagues up.
Yeah. So
like almost not fair. It's like a man amongst boys.
Yeah. Crazy.
So, but yeah, so that was interesting. That's all been coming out the last 24 hours or so.
Nice.
And then rumors are Yamamoto is looking for a deal in the $300 million range.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Like, it's getting too expensive. I'm out.
He's looking for a $300 million deal, and you'll have to pay the posting fee on that.
Yep. And he's never thrown a pitch in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. LA is aggressively eyeing Yamamoto. So
yeah, why not?
I mean, he's gonna
What's
go
another $300 million bucks? I mean, come on,
right.
What are we doing here? We'll just defer most of it anyways.
Man, crazy.
And
Absolutely
then and then just one other thing to throw on there. There was the Braves have been crazy active making trades and all this stuff. And I posted on our Facebook page that like there's a reason the Braves are so much better than everybody else at being able to pluck this talent. And if you watch what they're doing, this is what their third trade they've been part of already this offseason. They're trading for pieces, picking the one they want and moving off the other ones. So like they just did this trade for Stassi and these guys. They've already moved off the two pieces they didn't want. Like the Braves are playing chess and everybody's playing checkers.
Yeah.
They're finding the talent. They're putting a package together to bring that person to town. They're keeping that person and dumping the rest to basically recoup what they spent to get them. It's very, very smart. Alex Anthopoulos is a master when it comes to evaluating talent and trading. And they've loaded up their bench with trades where most of the teams are still scuffling to find pieces. They're already done. Braves are already done.
Yeah.
And now they're almost like a broker. They're like a clearinghouse for all these other players and making other deals and bringing other prospects and cash. Like it's crazy what they do, but the Braves operate on a different level.
Yeah. And they're going to be there year after year after year because they've built it that way. So
it's crazy.
As long as they can get past the Phillies, I don't even care if they don't get past the Phillies. Just somebody beat the freaking Dodgers for Christ's sakes. So, but yeah. All right. Yeah. Anything else?
That is it. It's been an interesting week.
That for sure. All right. So thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for chiming in. Please like, subscribe. You can share our podcast. You can listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We put out our reels weekly. So comment, share, do all of that stuff. We're pretty good at answering those backs if you have comments. So please keep doing your thing. Thanks for the support. Really means so much to us for doing something that we love to do every week. And keep your eyes out because more free agents are about to fall. I'm guessing probably this week before Christmas would be my guess. This week and next, we should see some And if not, after the holiday, it's going to be a madhouse scramble to get people in before pitchers and catchers. So
yep.
We will be all over that. So keep your eyes peeled to the page. And again, thanks for your support. And we'll see you next Monday at 8 p.m.